Hello friends, welcome to Solving Sudoku. First off, of course, please try to pick up the book. It's awesome. The puzzles in it are amazing. We're doing number 3. Do them before you watch, get as far as you can, and then come and watch. You may even solve them with the tools that we have so far. Let's take a look at those. So, bad handwriting, I'm sorry. First off, rule number 1, no duplicates, right? In the columns, rows, or boxes. You only get one 1 in this big box. You only get one 1 in this row. You only get one 1 in this column. No duplicates. Number 2, if a number is restricted to a certain row or column or big box, it can be erased from the same row or column or other big boxes. Good. Number 3, if a number can only be in one cell in a row, a column, or a big box, then it goes there. So, of course, as you know, if this is the only place that a 1 could go in this entire column, it's not obviously, but let's pretend if that was the only place it could go, then it would go there. Number 4, if only one cell is unsolved in a row, column, or box, then put the missing number in. Yeah, so let's pretend like this row. Let's say this row had every number solved except this one. We would know what this one is because we know what all the rest of these are, and we can't have any duplicates, so clearly. Number 5, after all numbers are done, if a cell only has one choice, then that is the answer. So once you've gone through and written in all your small numbers, then you can say, wait, this one only has a 4. That's it. It must be a 4, right? Yeah. Good. Number 6, if 2 cells in a row, column, or big box only have the same 2 choices, then they can be erased in the other cells in that row, column, or big box. So let's pretend we can have a 2, 5 here and a 2, 5 here. And the only choices for these two are 2, 5 or 2, 5. That means if this is a 5, this is a 2. And if this is a 2, then this is a 5. Basically, 2 and 5 are solved. We don't know exactly where they go, but we know they are either here or here. 2 and 5 are done. So, for this row, if we have 2 and 5 as an option anywhere else, we can get rid of it. We can erase all 2 5s except for the ones here. Now, I also happen to choose these 2 boxes, these 2 little cells here, because they're both in the same big box. Not only can we erase it out of here, but we can also erase it all out of here because we know it has to be 2, 5, 2, 5. Now, I made that up, obviously 2's here, but good. So those are our 6 rules that we've learned so far. I'm going to try to point them out as we go, just like I have in the past. I'm going to start with not just immediately writing small numbers. I'm going to start by seeing if there's anything we can solve right off the bat. So I'm going to start with 1s. So we've got 2 1s here. That looks pretty good. So no 1s can go here, and no 1s can go here because of this one. So that just leaves 1 possibilities here. We don't get any help from these 2, so we can't solve any 1s there. Going this way, no real help. We can get a big plus sign here, but we still have 4 corners that are possible, so that's not going to work. This guy, no 1s across the top, no 1s across the middle, but we still have 3 choices. No help from these 2, so that's no good. Looks like we can't solve any 1s right now, to be honest. I do want to point out a weird thing that you'll start to see as you go. And we may not have written this yet. I'm not sure. I'm hoping I'm not going to double up number 2 here. If a number is restricted to a certain row or column or big box, it can be erased from the same row or column, big box, or other big boxes. So I think this is rule number 2. It doesn't solve anything yet, but I want to point it out. Ones can't go here and they can't go here. That means they can only go on the top and the bottom. Okay? Over here, ones can't go up the middle. That means they can only go on the top and the bottom. Now, if they can only go on the top and the bottom in this big box, and they can only go on the top and the bottom in this big box, then they have to go in the middle in this big box. I think this is rule number 2. I think this is what we were talking about before. But we have 2 choices in the middle, so we're not able to solve anything. We'll see that more in detail when we actually write in our small numbers. Let's talk about 2's. Okay, 2's cannot go across the middle here because of this one. They cannot go across the bottom here because of this one. That leaves the top row. But these can also help us. It can't be on the left, and it can't be in the middle. So it has to be right there. We can literally solve this 2 right now because our 4 big boxes that lead to this big box already have 2 solved. So that's 2. That's that. That was cool. Good. How about this one? It makes a big old T, but that doesn't really help us. How about this one? This is cool. Nothing across the bottom because they're already solved, but nothing across the middle, nothing here. It leaves these 2. No help from down here, so can't solve it yet. This one, once again, making a big T, can't solve anything. This one, making a big T, can't solve anything. Okay, on to 3's. We got a 3 across the bottom, 3 across the middle. This one takes out that. So just those 2, but we don't get any help from down here, so those 2, we can't solve it yet. We get this coolness again. Bottom's already solved. Nothing across there. And we have a 3 here and a 3 here, so this has to be 3. So just to point that out, no 3's on the left, no 3's in the middle. That leaves these 3 choices. This one is already solved, so it's out. That just leaves these 2. This 3 knocks this one out. It's just that one. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 3 there. Nice. Good. It's nice when you can make a little bit of progress. All right. Knocks out the top. The top was already knocked out because of that. Across the middle, those 2, no help. This makes a giant plus, but we still have these 3. So no help there. So I think the 3's are basically done. That was cool. We got one. All right, 4's. Here's a couple 4's. So nothing on the right, nothing up the middle, but we still have these 2. We don't get any help from over here, so that's it. I do want to point out real quick, just like the 1's, we can't have any 4's here and we can't have any 4's here. That just leaves these 2. So they can only be on the top and the bottom here. They can only be on the top and the bottom here. They have to be in the middle here. So we can get rid of the top and the bottom and just leave the middle. We have to have a 4 somewhere in here. We know it's not here. We know it's not here because of this 4 and this 4. That means our middle 4 has to be one of these 2. That's another way to say it. I just want you to start noticing patterns. Hey, top, bottom must be in the middle. You know? Okay. Any help from 4's anywhere? Top and bottom, here and here. That leaves these 2. We don't get any help from those boxes. These 2. No. Dang. No luck with 4's. How about 5's? 5's. Okay. Here and here. Okay. This 5 takes out the top. This 5 takes out the right. That leaves these 4. But these 2 are already done. So it just leaves these 2. Which is neat because it wipes out this row for up here. So we can't have 5's here, and because we can only have 5's here, we can't have them here. So that leaves these 2, but no help from over here. So, okay, no luck with 5's. 6's. All right, 6's. We have 2 6's, it looks like. So we can make an L here kind of unit. That leaves these 4. This one, of course, is already solved, so these 3, no help. We can get a plus sign here, but we still got all 4 corners. We can go up, cut up the middle here. That leaves that. No luck with 6's. All right, 7's. There's only one 7, and that's not going to help us at all. All right, 8s. 2 8s it looks like. Here's an 8 over here. So we can do top and bottom, but it leaves these 2. No help there. No help there. 9s. Okay, we got a few 9s, a couple 9s. We'll start with these 2. Nothing across top, nothing across the middle, but that leaves the whole bottom. We do get to knock that one out because of this guy, so these 2 are all that's left. But we don't have any help from this box, so we can't figure out which one. This way, we can make kind of an upside-down L-looking unit here because of this 9 and then this 9. That leaves these 4. This one's already solved, so these 3. This one, nothing across the top, nothing down the side because of these 2 9s. And that leaves these 4, but these 2 are solved, so it just leaves these 2. Now, these 2 are in a row together, therefore they can't be in anywhere else down there. So we can say no 9s across the bottom, no 9s across the top, no 9s down the left. Wow, this is actually a 9. So I'm going to go over that again. This 9 says no 9s across the top. This 9 says no 9s down the right. That leaves these 4 boxes of possibilities. But these 2 are solved. So only these 2 are for 9. Now, 9 has to be here or it has to be here. There's no other choices in this big box, here or here. So when we solve that, it's going to wipe out all the 9s for the rest of this row. So we cannot have 9s here because it's here or here. We know that. No 9s here, no 9s here. We know that because of that 9. But no 9s across the bottom because it's one of these 2. No 9s across the top because of this 9. So it's one of these 3. This one's already solved. This 9 knocks out this one. That only leaves the middle. So this is 9. So that's cool. Now, of course, we would have noticed that when we were writing our small letters as well. I just like to buzz through real quick at first and solve all the really easy ones as quick as we can. Good. So I think we've gone through everything. We solved a 2, a 3, and a 9. So I don't think we need to go through again. You can always go through a second time to see if the things you solved anything else, right? You can run the whole puzzle again, starting with 1s. But I think we'll go ahead and just get going with our little numbers because we did pretty well. We got 3 answers, so that was good. So we'll just go on to little numbers. All right, I'm going to start over here because we've got 2 1s. So no 1s here because of this one. No 1s here because of this one. That just leaves these 2. So I'll put a tiny 1 there and a tiny 1 there. Good. This guy. So no 1s across the top, no 1s across the middle because of these 2. So that just leaves these 3 across the bottom. Up. Good. Okay. Well, I guess maybe this one. This is the big plus sign. So we got nothing down the middle because of this one, nothing across the middle because of this one. So it just leaves the 4 corners. Good. Okay, how about this guy? We've only got across the middle. Everything else is still a possibility. So we're writing in a bunch of 1s here. Good. All right. So the bottom big row is done. The middle big row is done. We got to focus on the top now. There is no help for this at all. Like literally. Oh, no, wait a minute. We saw this. I'm going to do this one first. 1s cannot go up the middle. That means only these 3 are left as possibilities. So now we have rule number 2. If a number is restricted to a certain row or column in a big box, it can be erased from the same row or column in other big boxes. So that is more specifically the 9s, okay? We know 9 cannot be across the top, and we know that it can't be down the left, so it was only these 2. It's restricted to the bottom of this big box. Because it's restricted to the bottom of this big box, it cannot be on the bottom of this big box or this big box. That's how we solved that 9. That's rule number 2. So I am going to make a new rule for this. Even though it's kind of the same, I'm going to make this rule number 7. And it's a lot like rule number 2. No, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, guys. I am just going to put a plural on the end of those for number 2. If a number is restricted to certain rows or columns in a big box, it can be erased from the same rows or columns in other big boxes. So if you have, we're looking at this big row, and in this big row we can see this big box has ones only in the top and the bottom, and this big box has ones only in the top and the bottom. Where's the middle one going to go? We got to have a middle one somewhere. Clearly it's going to go in the middle. It's going to go in this big box here, right? If this turns out to be 1, then this will be 1. If this turns out to be 1, then this will be 1. And now that we know that, this has got to be in the middle. 1 has got to be in here. So we do get help with this big box. We can say they're not on the top and they're not on the bottom. They are in the middle. Good. Okay. Nice. All right, so we got some good 1s written up there. Let's move on to 2s. So the top is done. That's cool. That big box is totally done. This one. We can't have any 2s on the left, and we can't have any 2s across the middle. So that makes a big sideways T. So I'm going to write the 2s in here. There's a 2, there's a 2, there's a 2, and there's a 2. Those are the only possibilities for 2s. How about this guy? 2s cannot go across the middle because of this 2 over here. They can't be across the bottom because the bottom is solved. And we have a 2 here. That means this is actually literally 2. Nice. That must have come because we solved something else. Maybe this 3 we solved. I can't remember. But now we know that too. So that's awesome. Now we got to do some cleanup because we already wrote some small 2s and then we solved a 2. So I got to get rid of those because we know 2 is here. So it clearly is not here or here. This row only gets 1, 2. Good. Okay, so that was cool. Nice. All right, so the top big row is done for 2s. The middle big row is done for 2s. What about the bottom one? So we have got a 2 on the left, which cuts this off. We've got a 2 across the middle, which cuts there. So we got our sideways T again. So I can write 4 little 2s, except, of course, the 5 is already solved. So I'm not going to write a little 2 there because it's already done. So that's good. Okay, 2s. Now how about this one? No 2s on the left, no 2s down the middle, no 2s across the middle. That just leaves these 2. There we go. Cool. Okay. Good. All right, 2s are done. Let's move on to 3s. So the top big row. No 3s across the bottom, no 3s across the middle. We got 1 3 cutting up the middle here, so that just leaves these 2. So that's cool. Not too bad for 3s. There we go. All right, let's move on to the middle big row. We can't have anything across the top because of this guy. Also, it's solved. Anything across the middle because of this guy. And nothing here because of this one. So that just leaves these 2. So here's a 3. Here's a 3. Good. Now this one. Nothing across the middle, nothing down the middle. So it's a big plus sign. We can write in the 4 corners, 3s. Obviously, I'm not going to write a 3 here because that's already solved. So it's just those 3. Good. And then the last one, we get a 3 across the middle. No 3s across the middle. No 3s down the middle. Once again, a big plus sign. So we can write 3s in all the corners. Obviously, I'm not going to write a 3 here because it's already solved. It's a 4. Good. So 3s are done. Good. Moving on to 4s. Okay. So we'll start with the top big row here. We've got a 4 saying nothing on the right, a 4 saying nothing on the middle, but these 2 are still options. So I'm going to write 4s here. 4 and 4. Okay. Good. How about this one? No help. All right, I'm going to cheat because we already kind of talked about this. I'm going to do this one before this one, okay? No 4s on the right, no 4s on the left. That just leaves 4 here and 4 here. Now, because of rule number 2, we know 4s can only be on the top and the bottom here in this big box, and they can only be on the top and the bottom in this big box. Therefore, it's got to be in the middle in this box. We need a 4 in the middle somewhere. It's not here, and it's not here. That just leaves these 2 as possibilities. If this is 4, then this is 4. If this is 4, then this is 4. Right? Because I would write a big 4 here. I would erase this one, and that's the only place a 4 is possible. That's got to be the 4. The 4s are solved in these 2 big boxes. We don't know exactly where they are, but we know vaguely where they are, which means we also kind of know vaguely where this one has to go. Good. Okay. So 4s are done for the top big row. Let's tackle this middle one. No 4s across the top because of this guy. No 4s across the bottom because of this guy. That just leaves these 2. Let's get these little 4s written in. Good. Okay. That finishes up the middle big row. Now I do want to point out, for this big column, we can only have 4s on the middle and the right here. And we can only have 4s on the left and the right here. So what does that mean down here? Absolutely nothing. Okay. If we could only have 4s in the middle and the right here, and we could only have 4s in the middle and the right here, then we could say they have to be on the left over here. Because we've got the middle and the right covered with these 2. So it would be on the left over here. But that is not true. There's no significance to this. Just having middle and the right here and then right and left here does not help down here. Okay, good. So let's deal with the bottom big row. These 2 are solved, so we'll jump straight to the middle. Nothing across the bottom because of this 4. Nothing across the middle because of this 4. That just leaves these 2. So I'm going to write them in. Now do we know something cool? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Okay? We know that it has to be in the middle and the right in this big box. It has to be in the middle or the left in this big box. And it has to be on the left or the right in this big box. None of that works together to help us erase something. If only these 2 4s were over here, then we would know. Nothing in the middle and the right here. Nothing in the middle and the right here. Therefore, that cannot be a 4. Because we've got the middle and the right covered, so it has to be on the left. That is not the case, obviously. But if it were, we would know that that's a 4. We just didn't get any help, unfortunately. Good. All right, so 4s are basically done. Let's jump on to 5s. Okay, we don't have a lot of 5s. So for the top row, we've got these 2 5s. So 5 cannot be on the right, and 5 cannot be across the middle. So we're making a big sideways T. So I've got 4 5s I can write in. 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is already solved, so we only write in 3 5s. That's great. Good. Okay. How about this one? 5 cannot be across the middle. There's no help from here at all. So we're going to write in a bunch of 5s. Here we go. They can't be across the middle. 5, 5, that's solved. That's good. 5, that's solved. 5, okay. 4 5s, that's not too bad. Okay, good. So the top big row is done. Let's talk about this middle row. This is a mess. Okay, no help. So you guys remember, when you're looking at a big box, there are 4 big boxes that influence what goes in here. In this case, it's this one and this one and this one and this one. The diagonal boxes don't help in any way, right? Good. So in this case, there's no 5 help from here. We got 5s everywhere. There's no 5 help from here. There's no 5 help from here. No 5 help from here. So we just got to write 5s in everywhere. There is no help. Now, luckily, a lot of this is already solved. So we only had to write in 3 5s. That's pretty good. Okay, what about this middle guy? Well, we do get some help from here. No 5s on the right, but there's no help anywhere else from any of these. So we just got to write in a bunch of 5s. This is probably the worst one so far. Got to write in 5 5s. But it would have been 6 if this 3 wasn't solved. So that's good. 5 is not horrible. All right, jumping on to this one. So no 5s on the right. So that just leaves the middle and the left. There's no help from anywhere else for 5s. So I've got to write these in. Now, it's not too bad because a lot of these are already solved. I only ended up writing 3 5s. So now we have the same situation here that we had with the 4s, basically. 5s can only be on the top and the middle here. And they can only be on the bottom and the middle here. So that doesn't help us in any way because they're not the same. If these 5s were up here, and we could say no 5s on the top here, no 5s on the middle here, no 5s on the top here, no 5s on the middle here, then we could erase these 3 5s because we'd know it'd have to be on the bottom here. But it's not the case. We have 5s all over the place. So unfortunately, that didn't work out. All right, so 5s are done in the middle. Let's finish 5s on the bottom. We'll start with this one. No 5s across the top and no 5s down the side. So that just leaves these 4. So I'm going to write in our little 5s. We can write in 4 5s, except 2 of them are already solved. So I'm only writing in 2 5s. So now we're back to rule number 2. 5s can only be in the middle here. Therefore, they cannot be in the middle here and here. 5 is going here or here for this big box. We don't know which one, but it's going to be one of the 2. And no matter which one it is, it'll knock out all the 5s going up. So I can erase this, okay? 5s can only be in the middle here, so they cannot be in the middle here or here. And this is an easy version of rule number 2, because we're not doing the weird double thing, like it can only be here and here and here and here, therefore it has to be in the middle. We're not doing any of that. This is straight up, can only be in the middle. So that's an easy version of rule number 2. Good. Okay, so that one's done. We got to erase that 5. I don't think it helps us in any way. We still can be in the bottom or the middle, and the top and the middle, and all 3 here, so they're not working together in any way. But that's good. We at least got rid of 1. All right, so now this guy. No 5s across the top. We don't have any help from here because 5s can be in all 3 in this one. Only left and right here, but all 3 here, so that's not any help. Nothing across the top, so I'm just going to write 5s in everywhere else. We would write 6 5s in, except 2 of them are already solved. So we're only writing 4 5s, so that's not the end of the world. Not too bad. Good. Okay, so I think 5s are done. So now we're moving on to 6s. Okay, there's only a couple 6s, so this is going to be a rough one. We'll just start with the top. No 6s up the middle. No help here, no help there. Just no 6s up the middle. So I'm going to write in these other ones. Normally we would write 6 of these, but 3 of them are already solved. So we only had to write 3 6s. Now that's a G. Geez. Okay, because 2, 7, and 9 are already solved, so I didn't have to write a 6 here, here, or here. Good. So we got our 6s there. Let's move on to this one. No 6s on the right because of this guy. There's no help from anywhere else. So I'm going to write in these 6s. Once again, 2 of them are already solved. So I only have to write 4 6s. That's pretty cool. That's good. Now, how about this guy? No help from down here. No help from here. We could be like, now wait, we only have 6s on the top and the bottom. But we have 6s in all 3 here. So there's no, if this couldn't be a 6, then we could say, hey, no 6s top and bottom, no 6s top and bottom. They have to be in the middle here or whatever. But no, we have 6s everywhere there. So there's no help anywhere. I got to write 6s everywhere. This would be writing 9 6s, but luckily 3 of them are already solved. So I'm only writing 6 6s. Dang. Okay, good. All right, so there's that. So now we'll move on to the middle big row. This one's already solved, so that's cool. This one, we actually get a tiny bit of help here. Nothing across the bottom, nothing up the right. That just leaves these 4. One of them's already solved, so I'm only writing 3 6s. That's cool. Good. Okay, there's some 6s. How about this guy? Nothing across the bottom. No help from here or here. The cool thing is the top is solved. So that means that we're only writing 6s across the middle. And because of rule number 2, we know if they have to be in the middle here, they can't be in the middle here or here, which means I get to erase this 6. That's cool. Okay. Not big help, but we got rid of 1 6, so it's going to be easier later. That's cool. I do want to point out, this is going to sound silly because it's already solved, but I do want to point out, we can only have 6s on the left and the middle here, and we can only have 6s on the left and the middle here. That means 6 has to be on the right down here. Now, it already is, which is excellent. We did it. Good. But that is an example of rule number 2. Good. Okay, so 6s are done in the big middle row. Let's move on to the bottom. Okay, so we've got a couple 6s. No 6s down the middle. No 6s across the middle. That's a big plus sign, so we got to put 6s in all 4 corners. There we go. We've already solved that 6, so that's great. This 6 down here, we don't have any help from these guys. We do have help from this 6, so that's cool. Nothing across the middle, but I got to write 6s everywhere else. Luckily, a lot of this is already solved, so I'm only writing 4 6s. So that's not too bad. Yeah, that's cool. Good. Good. Okay. We didn't learn anything. It would be nice if we could say only on the left and the right and only on the left and the right. But we can't because it's in the middle there too. And it's in the middle. I mean, this whole thing is, there's a ton of 6s. So I think that's about all we can do with 6s for now. Let's move on to 7s. Only 1 7. Okay. All right. So we're going to be writing a lot of 7s, just saying out loud. So no 7s across the middle. That means we got 7s across the top and the bottom. So here they go. Okay. Once again, over to here. We don't get any help from these guys. So no 7s across the middle because of this one. But everything else has a possibility of a 7. All right. So the top big row is done. Let's move on to this one. No 7s down the right. Okay, so we can write 7s in both of these, but a ton of this is already solved, which is really cool. I only wrote 2 7s, and rule number 2 actually applies here because both of these 7s are on the left. One of these 2 is going to be the 7 in this big box. It's either this one or this one. That means it cannot be on this side here. So that's neat. We got to remember that when we're doing the bottom big row. Okay, now probably the worst one of all. No help from up here, no help from down here, no help from either of these. So 7 can just go everywhere. That's 9 sevens. Now, we do have one of these cells solved, luckily. So I'm actually only writing 8 sevens. But oh my gosh, that's the worst. That's a lot of sevens. Okay, on to this one here. No help from the top, no help from the bottom, no help from here, no help from here. These two don't work together at all because we can say, hey, it's only at the top or the middle, but it's all 3 here, so that doesn't mean anything. So we're writing 7s in everywhere. We got no help. A lot of this is solved, luckily, so we're only writing 5 sevens. Not the end of the world. Not as bad as this one. Now this one says can only be in the middle or the bottom, and this one says middle and the top. So unfortunately that does not help us. If this happened to be middle top, then we could say it's only on the bottom here. But that is not the case. Top, bottom, everything. That's a mess. Okay, let's move on to the bottom big row. No 7s on the right, thankfully, and no 7s on the left because the middle's already solved here. That's great. So it can only go in the middle here. Cool. And that restricts us to top and bottom. So I wonder if we'll get some rule number 2 help here across this. You never know. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. Okay. No help from here. No help from here. No help from here. No help from here. So I just got to write 7s in everywhere. Luckily, some of these are solved, so I'm only writing 6 7s. Ay, ay, ay. Good, so there's some 7s. These can only be on the top and the bottom, but these can be on all 3, so no help here yet. Let's move on to this one. No help from up here, no help from here, no help from here, no help from here. Just got to write 7s everywhere. That's a lot of 7s. That was a mess. Dang. Okay. 8s. Let's move on to 8s. We have 1 8, 2 8s. Okay, that's a little bit better than 7s. I think real quick I'll just do the middle because that's where our 2 8s are. So nothing across the top because of this guy, nothing across the bottom because of this guy. So across the middle, 8 8. Good. That was not too bad. So the middle big row is done for 8s. Let's go up to the top. Nothing on the right. No help from any of these other 3, so just nothing on the right. Luckily, a lot of this is solved, so we're only writing 3 8s. And I like that this 8 is all by itself. Literally. Once, okay, I'm not going to jump ahead. I like that. Good. All right, let's move on to this one. So, no help from here, no help from here, no help from here, no help from here. We are writing 8s everywhere. Oh my gosh. 8, 8, 8, 8. Sheesh, 7 8s. The 7s are the worst in here, but 7 8s, that's a lot. On to this one. We do have a little bit of help, luckily. No 8s on the left. No help from here or here, so I just got to write these in. Now, luckily, the middle 2 are solved, so that restricts our 8s to the top and the bottom. So that makes me think, hey, is it possible that either of these was just top and bottom? The answer, of course, is absolutely not, because these 8s are everywhere. So we can't use rule number 2 for this, unfortunately. Okay, so top big row's done, middle big row's done. What about this bottom one? We get a little bit of help. No 8s on the left. There's no help here, no help here, no help here. So just no 8s on the left. I got to write them everywhere else. One of them's already solved with a 4, so that's good. So I'm only writing 5 8s total. Not the worst. Good. Now this middle one, no help, no help, no help, no help. I got to write 8s everywhere. We're writing 6 8s. It's not the worst, but man, that's a lot of 8s. Hello, kitty. You want to look at this camera for a second? Yeah. Look, there's the camera. Good job. Good job. Okay. I'll see you later, okay? All right, 8s. Over here. No 8s on the left. That's a little bit of help. That's good. We don't get help from anywhere else. I gotta write a bunch of 8s into here. I'm only writing 4 though. Good. Okay. There. 8s are done. So now we're on to the last number, the 9s. Fortunately, we have a good 4 9s, it looks like. So we're gonna be able to eliminate some stuff. So no 9s across the top, no 9s across the middle, no 9s up the middle. That just leaves these 2. Here's a 9 and there's a 9. So the top big row is totally done. That's great. On to this one. No 9s on the right, no help from down here. So the 9s have to be on this side. And that's cool because the same thing happened with the 9s that happened with the 7s. Because the middle is solved, the 9s were restricted to the left, which means they cannot be on the left down here. Because one of these 2 is going to be the 9 in this big box. We don't know which one, but one of the 2 will be. So that's great. So 9s there. We got to remember that when we do this one down here. How about this guy? No 9s on the left, no 9s up the middle. No help from these 2. So we just got 9s all the way down the right here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. How about this guy? No 9s in the middle, no help from here or here. So they've just got to be here on the left and the right. Good, okay. Now, obviously, we can't say, hey, 9s are just at the top in the middle. 9s are just at the bottom in the middle. That means, doesn't mean anything. They'd have to be both in the same spots. If we had bottom and middle here and bottom and middle here for 9s, then we could get rid of all the 9s there and just leave them at the top, but that is not the case. Okay, so down to here. We wanted to remember this situation. The middle is solved, so that helped us with the 9s here. So no 9s on the left, no 9s on the right, and no 9s on the top, and no 9s in the middle. That means that is a 9. That's interesting. So no 9s on the left, no 9s on the right. It's just one of these 2. And it can't be the one on the top or the one in the middle. So it's got to be the one on the bottom. Okay, cool. Oh, don't write that. It's solved. It's all right. Okay, there. That's a good one. Nice. Okay. I don't think we have to do any cleanup from solving this 9 because this middle's already solved, so I think we're good. All right. So now we get to look at rule number 5. After all numbers are done, if a cell has only one choice, then that is the answer. All of our numbers are done. So we need to look for cells that only have one choice. For instance, this 8. The only option for this cell is 8. And you can always double check this just by counting. It can't be 1, because we've already got a 1 in the column. It can't be 2, it can't be 3, can't be 4, can't be 5, because we already have it in the row. Can't be 6, can't be 7, because it's already in the row / big box. Can be 8, can't be 9, because it's already in the row and the big box. This is 8. This is 8. So I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to put an 8 there. Now, we can move on to cleanup. There are other instances of numbers being alone, and that is the answer. But I don't want to lose our cleanup here. I want to remember. Now that we have solved 8 in this big box, we need to erase 8 from the rest of the big box. So I'm going to erase this 8. I'm going to erase this 8. Also, we need to erase all the 8s from the row because we solved the 8 in the row. So I need to erase this 8. And I need to erase this 8. Also, I need to erase all the 8s in this column because we solved the 8 in the column. So I need to erase this 8. Okay? So that was the 8 cleanup. From that, we made this 5 be by itself. And because of rule number 5, all numbers are now done. We can now say this is a 5 because it was by itself after cleanup. Okay? So now we got to clean up 5s. We'll start with the big box. Since 5 is solved, we need to erase 5 from all other possibilities. So there goes a 5. Here goes a 5. Here goes a 5. Good. So 6, 1, 6, 4, 1, 6, 4, 1. 3 options, 3 cells. That's nice. Good. So 5 is cleaned up in here. It didn't give us any more answers in here. We don't have anything by itself. What about across the top row, though? We solved 5 in this row. Let's get rid of these 5s. 8, 7, 6, 5. 8, 7, 6, 5, 3. Okay, good. So we cleaned up that. I don't see any obvious, ooh, that's the answer. So we'll just forget about that. How about down here? Nothing really to clean up here. No 5s to erase. I do want to point out that every one of these is solved except for 1. So we know what this is, and it's a 7 because it's also what's written there. It just happens to be. I am just going to make that a 7 right now, I think. I think I'll jump down to here and do this one. So that's a 7. We know that because it was by itself and because of another rule. Which one? Rule number 4. If only one cell is unsolved in a row, column, or big box, then put the missing number in, which we did. Good. So now we got to clean up. Any 7s in here to get rid of? No, there's not. Wow, that's cool. Okay. Any 7s across the top to get rid of here, across this row? Yeah, we got some 7s we got to get rid of. Got to get rid of this one. We got to get rid of this one. Got to get rid of this one. And this one. Good. Okay, got rid of some 7s. That's nice. How about up and down? No, that's completely solved. Good. So we cleaned up after the 7 we solved. I don't see any quick, obvious solves, so that's great. We can now look for more boxes, cells, that just have one number in them. Here's a good example. There's only a 6 there. According to rule number 5, once all the numbers have been gone through and written up, if it's by itself, that is the answer. 6 is the only thing that can go there. We can double check it real quick if we want. Can't be a 1 because of this one. Can't be a 2. Can't be a 3. Can't be a 4. Can't be a 5. It is a 6. Can't be a 7, 8, or 9. Okay, good. So now we got to clean up. Let's talk about the row first. 6s must be removed. So let's get rid of that one. Good, okay. How about, don't see any obvious choices, solves here. So we'll forget about the row. How about the big box? Let's erase the 6s here from the big box. 8, 7, 4. 8, 7, 1. 9, 8, 7, 1. 8, 7, 4. 9, 7. That was good. Okay, got rid of a bunch there. We can't forget about this. Got to go this way too. So let's get rid of this 6. Let's get rid of this 6. Good. Okay. This is a pretty obvious solve. I don't know if I'm going to jump down there right this second, but yeah, that's pretty obvious because it's by itself. We know it's 3 because all the numbers have been done. But I want to point something out first. And this is rule number 6. If two cells in a row, column, or big box only have the same two choices, then they can be erased in that row, column, or big box. 4, 1, 4, 1. We know that 4 or 1 is going to go in these two cells, period. If 1 is here, 4 is here. If 4 is here, 1 is here. That's it. 4, 1, 4, 1. Knowing that, we can erase all the 4 1s in all the other cells in that row. Now, they're all solved. So that's not helping us here right now because they're all solved. But if we see this somewhere else, we can use that to our advantage. I also want to point out these two happen to be in the same big box. So we can erase all 4 1s from all of these. Now, there's no 4 1s to get rid of, so we're cool. Our cleanup has been really good. So we don't have to worry about erasing those. But I want to point out the opposite side of this thing. You can have 2 options, 2 cells, which can help you. You can also have 5 options, 5 cells. Look at this. We have 8763, 876, 873, 87, 8765. That's 5 options, 5 boxes. Now, the thing you have to do, so in this case, if there were any 87s here, we could erase them. 87653s. We could erase them because we have 5 cells, 5 options. Okay? But when you find something like 4 cells, 4 options, or 5 cells, 5 options, you need to go through and make sure there's 2 examples of each number in those 5. If you look at this, 2 cells, 2 options, we got 2 4s and 2 1s. If we had 4, 1, and 1, this is 1, right? This isn't 2 cells, 2 options if it's 4, 1, 1. It's just 1 cell that's a 4, right? Because that's a 1. So the same thing is true with this 5 options, 5 boxes. Let's make sure we have 2 of each. Do we have at least 2 8s? Yeah, we got 5 8s. That's crazy. Do we have at least 2 7s? Yes, we have 5 7s. How about 6s? Yes, we have 3 different 6s. How about 3s? Looks like we have 2 different 3s. That's great. How about 5s? There's only 1 5 in these 5 options, 5 boxes. So what that means is actually we have 4 options, 4 boxes, and a 5. Okay? So let's look at this. 8763, 876, 873, 87. That's 4 options, 8, 7, 6, or 3, within 4 cells, all by themselves. There's 2 8s, there's 2 7s, there's 2 6s, there's 2 3s. 4 options, 4 boxes. This means within this big box, we can erase the 8763s from every other cell. There's no 8763s to get rid of here. There's no 8763s to get rid of here. But here, 8765, we can get rid of these 876s. And that just leaves a 5. Now, I also want to point out that the flip side of this rule is if a number's all by itself, then that's the answer, right? This is number 3. If a number can only be in 1 cell in a row, column, or big box, then it goes there. This was the only place a 5 could go after our cleanup, right? Now, we found it the opposite way. We found 4 options, 4 boxes, 4 cells, I should say, and we erased them from here. So that left 5 by itself. So now we know that that's 5. But it's very important to look at 2 cells, 2 options, 4 cells, 4 options, 3 cells, 3 options. Look at this. 641, 641, 61. That's 3 cells with 3 options, 6 or 4 or 1. We know 6 or 4 or 1 is going to go in these 3. Therefore, we cannot have 6, 4, or 1 in any of these others. Now, they're already solved, so it's not helping us. But you can see there's no 6s, 4s, or 1s in here at all because they're right here. So this rule number 6 is very important as we get into these later puzzles. So you got to look for 2 options, 2 cells, 4 options, 4 cells, 3 options, 3 cells. How about this one over here? Is this 5 options, 5 cells? Well, what do we got? 9, 8, 7, 1, 8, 7, 4. So that's 5 numbers. 9, 8, 7, 4, 1. 9, 7, 8, 7, 4, 8, 7, 1. So yeah, we've got 5 options, 5 cells. Do we have 2 of every number? You always have to ask yourself that. We have at least 2 9s, at least 2 8s, at least 2 7s, at least 2 4s, at least 2 1s. Yes, this is 5 cells, 5 options. Okay? 2 cells, 2 options, 3 cells, 3 options, 4 cells, 4 options, 5 cells, 5 options. We get all those examples here. That's good. Okay. So let's jump down to here. Look at this one. We have got 3 cells. Do we have 3 options? 9, 7, 9, 7, 5, 9, 7, 5, 5. Yeah, we got 3 options, right? Do we have at least 2 of each? Yes, we have 2 9s, 2 7s, and at least 2 5s. Now, obviously, this 5 is by itself. We cannot forget rule number what? 5. After all numbers are done, if a number's by itself, that is the answer. Okay? Don't forget rule number 5. This is 3 cells, 3 options. It fits all the rules. But this 5's by itself. And I also want to point out another weird thing. 9 and 7 and 9 and 7 are only in these 2 cells. There's no 9 7 over here. There's no 9 7s anywhere over here. Therefore, this is really 2 options, 2 boxes. We have 2 9s and 2 7s right here, and this is the only place they are. Therefore, this is the opposite of this. Because we have 2 9s and 2 7s in the same cell, and this is in the same cells, and this is the only places they are in this big box, we can get rid of the other numbers that are with them. Okay? We can erase these 5s. Clearly, we can just solve 5 and erase them and clean up. Clearly. But I want to point out, you might find, pretend that none of these are solved, and there's 5s and 4s and 3s and 1s. There's all these numbers all over the place. But the only place that 9 and 7 can go is these 2 cells. Because this is the only place 9s and 7s can be, then they need to be by themselves. If this is 9, this is 7. That's it. If this is 7, then this is 9. If this is 5, then all of the sudden, 9 and 7 can only be here. We can't have 2 numbers. Where does the 7 and the 9 go if this is 5? They have to cram together in here. They can't go here because only 5 can be here. They can't be together. You can't have a 9/7 in this cell, right? And what would go here? Because this would be 5, so we'd have to erase that 5 as a choice. Nothing could go here. 9 and 7 would have to be squished together here. Clearly a mistake was made, okay? If you see 2 9s and 2 7s in 2 cells in the same big box, let's stick to big box for now, in the same big box, then you know, and they're nowhere else, there's no 9s or 7s anywhere else, you know you can erase the other stuff in those cells. 9 7 9 7. Now, the easy way was Hey, there's a 5 by itself. It must be a 5, right? But I wanted to point out to you, and I probably ought to document this. I think we're going to find that every one of these rules has an opposite that's also true. But I think I'm going to write this opposite. I'm going to go ahead and make number 7. I'm going to say, okay, if 2 cells in a row, column, or big box, if 2 cells, if only, this is good, if only 2 cells in a row, column, or big box have the same 2 numbers, then you can erase the other numbers in those 2 cells. Okay? So that's rule number 7. They go hand in hand, these 2 rules. But as an example here, we could erase the 5s because only 9 and 7, and let's switch it to the column. Let's say 975, 975. Are there any 9-7s anywhere else? There's a 5, so we're cool there. It doesn't matter. Are there any 9-7s anywhere else in this column? No. Then these have got to be the 9 and the 7. Straight up. We can erase the 5s because they can't be anywhere else. And look at this now. 641, 641, 61. This is 3 cells, 3 options. We have 2 6s at least. We have at least 2 4s. We have at least 2 1s. This is 3 cells, 3 options. Therefore, we can erase 641 from all the other cells here. Okay, in this column. So I can erase this 6 and this 1 because we have 3 cells, 3 options right here. Now, also, this is the only place 5 can go in this column. So clearly it is 5, but I like to point it out this way. So we start looking for 3 cells, 3 options, get rid of the rest. 2 cells, 2 options, get rid of the rest, right? So I'm going to erase this 6 and this 1 because we have 3 cells, 3 options of 641 right here. And that just leaves the 5 by itself. So, because it's by itself, it clearly is 5. Good. Man, okay. Let's do a little bit of cleanup. No 5s to get rid of there. We've already been good about that. There's some 5s to get rid of in the big box, though. Here's one to get rid of. Here's one to get rid of. Good. And let's not forget the row. Got to clean up the row as well. Any 5s along here to get rid of? There's a 5. We'll get rid of that one. Good. Okay. Good. Now, of course, that left us 8 all by itself. I guess we might as well get it now. I'll just erase the 8 and throw an 8 in there. So now we can erase the 8s in the other places in the big box. Now that has left us 621, 621, 61. 3 different numbers in 3 different cells. Do we have at least 2 of each? Yeah, we got at least 2 6s, at least 2 2s, and at least 2 1s. So this is 3 cells, 3 options. Are there any numbers by themselves? There is not. Therefore, we can't solve that anymore. That is just 3 options, 3 cells. That's cool. Okay, good. Nice. Now, what about this column? 621, 621, 61. Okay, we have 3 numbers, 6, 2, and 1. We have 3 cells total. We have at least 3 6s, at least 3 2s, at least 2 6s, at least 2 2s, and at least 2 1s. So it is 3 options, 3 cells. Are any of them by themselves? No, this is a 6 and 1 up here. So that's as solved as that's going to get. I believe this big column is as solved as it's going to get for now. We need help coming this way to tackle some of these, okay? But that looks good. That is really reduced. That's well done. You know what? I'm going to jump to the right because this is just a nightmare that I don't really want to look at. So let's let's go to this one over here. So let's look at this top. We've got 5 cells. Do we have 5 numbers? 9871, 874. Yes, so 98741. Those are the only numbers we're looking for to be in here because the rest are solved. 9871, 874, 97, 871, 874. This looks like 5 cells, 5 options. Do we have at least 2 of each? We have at least 2 9s. We have at least 2 8s, at least 2 7s, at least 2 4s, at least 2 1s. Yep. Are any of them by themselves? No. Do we have any that are like, do we have like 9797 right together somewhere? No. Like we have 97 here and 97 here, but we also have a 7 here. So we can't say 9 7s are all by themselves and these 2, because it's just not true. There's a 7 there, there's a 7 there, a 7 there. You know, how about 9 1? Can we find 9 1 together? No, there's a 9 1, but nowhere else is there a 9 1. How about 8 7s? Here's an 8 7, here's an 8 7. That's cool. But there's 8s everywhere else, there's 7s everywhere else. Like, we can't use rule number 7 or rule number 6 for this. That is 5 options, 5 cells, straight up. Okay, so how about this guy down here? Hey, here's a 7 by itself. That's great. Let's go ahead and solve that thing. I'm going to get rid of it now. I'm going to throw a 7 in there. Good. Now I can erase the 7s in the big box all the way around. Let's get rid of those. Here's a 7. There's a 7. There's a 7. There's a 7. How about the row? We got some 7s we can get rid of? Yes, we do. Man, solving that 7 was a big deal. Let's get rid of this 7. Get rid of this 7. Get rid of that 7. Now, how about the column? Yeah, tons of 7s to get rid of. There's a 7. There's a 7. Oops. There's a 7. There's a 7. Good. So cleanup is pretty much done. So what have we revealed through our cleanup? Well, the first thing that popped out to me was up here. Hopefully you can see it. We now have 8 4, 8 4, all by themselves. This is 2 cells, 2 options. We have 2 8s, we have 2 4s. That's it. Therefore, we can erase 8 4 from everywhere else in this big box and this column, because they happen to be in a column as well as both in this big box. If this is 8, this is 4. If this is 4, this is 8. That's it. No other numbers are going to go in here. 8 and 4 are solved. We just don't know exactly where they go, but it's one of these 2. So 8 and 4 has to go away from everywhere else here and here. 8 and 4s, get rid of them. No 8 there. No 8 there. So that takes care of the 8 and 4s out of the big box. How about down here? We can get rid of an 8 here. And we can get rid of an 8 here. Wow, look at that. 3's by itself, 5's by itself, 6's by itself. This thing's practically done. That's awesome. So, 8 4, 8 4. That was cool. What did we learn from our cleanup here? We are left with 971, 71, 97. That's 3 numbers, 9, 7, and 1. They're in 3 cells. We have at least 2 9s, at least 2 7s, and at least 2 1s. So, that's 3 options, 3 cells. There's nothing we can really do. Do we have 2 9 7s? We do. Look at this, 9 7 9 7. Can we get rid of this 1? The answer is no, because there's a 7 up here. If we had 9 7 9 7, and there weren't any 9 7s anywhere else, 9s or 7s, then we could erase that 1 and leave 9 7 9 7 by itself. But there's a 7 up here. That ruins it. We can't just say, hey, 2 options, 2 cells, because it's not. It's 2 options in 3 cells, because that 7 is up there. So it's all right. We almost had a rule number 7 here, except that 7 ruined it. A lot of 7s going on. Okay, good. So we can't reduce that down anymore. Let's jump down to here. This is just crazy. Clearly, this is a 5. So I'm going to throw a 5 there. Clearly, this is a 6. So I'm going to throw a 6 there. Clearly, this is a 3. So I'm going to throw a 3 here. And we can erase 5, 6, and 3 from all the others. So 5, 6, 3. These 2 go. And these 2 go. So now, clearly, this is an 8. And we can erase the 8s from the rest of this. So clearly, this is a 7 because it's by itself now. Good. So now, that was a lot. We got a lot of cleanup to do up and to the left. Let's start with up, okay? We just solved 8 and 7. We'll just say 8, 2, 7. I don't remember exactly. 8, 7, 2. So are there any 8 7s or 2s going up? Here's 7s. Good. Let's get rid of these 7s. Good. Okay. All right. What about the middle? 9, 5, 6. These are just 8, 4, 8, 4. This is 2 cells, 2 options. So clearly there's not going to be anything to erase because this is 8 and this is 4, or this is 4 and this is 8. I mean, that's it. There's no 8 4s anywhere else. So that's good. What about this one? 9, 5, 3, 9, 5, 9, 7. That's awkward. So something, we've solved something. Oh, a 3. A 3. Good. Let's get rid of this 3. So now look at this. That leaves in this column 9, 5, 9, 5. That is 2 cells, 2 options. If this is 9, this is 5. If this is 5, this is 9. Period. 9 and 5 are solved in this column. We don't know exactly where they go, but we know they go here. Therefore, we can erase 9, 5 from everywhere else in this column. There's a 9. Let's get rid of it. Okay, good. That leaves a 7 by itself. We'll deal with that in a second. So this column is cleaned up. But this big box also contains the 9, 5, 9, 5. We know this is 9 and 5. Therefore, 9 and 5 can be erased from everything else within this big box. Clearly, we can't do it from rows because these aren't in a row. They're in a column in a big box. They're not in a row. But they are in this big box, so 9, 5 can be erased. So we get rid of that 9, we get rid of that 9. That leaves 6, 3. Good. Nice. So let's do some cleanup with this. Starting here, 3 is by itself. It is a 3. Okay. Here, 6 is by itself. It is a 6. And I do want to point out once again, you cannot make this judgment of something being by itself until all the numbers are done. If you'd only done up through 7 and 7 was by itself, you can't be like, oh, 7's by itself. It must be a 7. Because there could be an 8 or a 9 in there. You haven't done 8 and 9 yet. You don't even know, right? You got to wait till all the numbers are done before you do this. It's by itself. That must be that. Good. So I'm going to erase this 7. Put it there. I'm going to erase this 1 because it's by itself. Put it there. Good. A little bit of cleanup. I'm going to get rid of this 1. That leaves 9 by itself. So I'm going to put a 9 there. We are still left with 8, 4, 8, 4 and 9, 5, 9, 5. We cannot solve these without help from these directions. As far as this is concerned, this big column is done. So this big column is done, and this big column is done. So now we should do cleanup moving this way, starting down here, because we solved a lot down here. So 7, 6, 4. We can erase 764s all the way across here. Ooh, but let's do a crazy thing first. This could end up to be 4 cells, 4 options. There are 4 cells here. There might be 4 options left in there. Let's see if we can find the 4 options rather than just erasing the 764. I don't know that we're going to be able to, but I can see we're going to have 21, 831, 821, and 8321. This is crazy intense, okay? Pretend like these weren't solved. Pretend like there was a bunch of crazy numbers written in here. But none of them were 8321. There was no 8321s here, no 8321s here. If we found 21, 831, 821, and 8321 all by itself with a bunch of other numbers written out here, we could erase everything in here to just get to 8321. This is rule number 7. If you find 4 options, 4 cells all together, and they're not anywhere else, you can erase the other stuff in there. So we can erase 764 because we found 8321 in these 4 cells. Now, we can also erase them because we solved them, so that's cool. But 8321 exists in here and only in here. Therefore, these will be 8321. We don't know the order, but 8321 is right here. All right, so let's erase this 764. 7. 6. Okay, 8321. Look at that. 4 cells, 4 options. Do we have at least 2 8s? Yes. Do we have at least 2 3s? Yes. At least 2 2s? Yes. At least 2 1s? Yes. Are any of them by themselves? No. Now, do we have 2 options? 2 cells. Here's a 2 1 all by itself. There's a 2 1. Can we erase this 8? No, unfortunately we cannot, because we've got 1 and 2 1 everywhere else. These are not by themselves. If that 1 wasn't there and that 2 1 wasn't there, then yes, we could say, hey, 2 1 2 1 all by itself. We can erase that 8. But it's not all by itself. There's 2s and 1s everywhere. So this is 4 cells, 4 options. Okay. All right, a little bit of cleanup here. We solved this 8, I guess, and we didn't erase it, so I better get rid of that 8. That leaves 7 by itself. Clearly, that's a 7. It also happens to be that every other number in this row is solved. So we know that's 7, because there's no 7s anywhere else. So let's put the 7 there. That's good. Now we got to do a little bit of cleanup. And I want you to notice, this 8321, it's not confined to this big box because this 2 1 is in this other big box. So we can't talk about erasing stuff up here. If this 8321 were like, if this 2 1 were like here, so they were all in the same big box, then we could affect these. But instead they're in this row. So we affected the rest of the row, you know. Good, okay, so this doesn't help us with these, but we have 5 cells here. Why don't we look at these 5 cells and see if we have 5 options, 5 cells, or maybe we have 2 options, 2 cells, and 3 options, 3 cells. Who knows? Let's take a look at this. So 8321, 8431, 8421. So obviously 84321. We have 5 numbers. That's great with 5 cells. So far, yes, 5 options, 5 cells. Do we have at least 2 8s? Yes. Do we have at least 2 4s? Yes, but it's only these 2. That's interesting. Do we have at least 2 3s? Yes. Do we have at least 2 2s? Yes. Do we have at least 2 1s? Yeah. So we got at least 2 of everything. Nothing's by itself, so we can't just fix it. Are there any 2 options, 2 cells hidden within these 5. Well, look at this 2, 1, 2, 1. Hey, is it possible that we can erase this 8 and this 8, 4 because we have 2, 1, and 2, 1 all by itself? No, because we got 2, 1 here, we got a 1 there, we got a 1 there. We got 2s and 1s everywhere. These are not alone by themselves. No. What about 8, 4? Hey, look, 8, 4, 8, 4. Can we get rid of this 3, 1 and this 2, 1? So it's just 8, 4, 8, 4? No. We've got 8s down here all over the place. We don't have 4s anywhere else, but we've got 8s everywhere else. So they are not by themselves. So we can't erase the rest of the stuff, unfortunately. Okay, good. So I think, we should look this way. Do we have 4 cells, 4 options this way? 8, 4, 3, 1, 8, 4, 2, 1, 6, 2, 1. Wow, we're already up to 5 numbers or 6 numbers. No, this is a mess. We got some erasing to do. 8, there it is. We got to get rid of some 8s. So 8 can go from there and 8 can go from there. So that leaves 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1. That's 4 numbers, but 6, 2, 1. Bam, that's 5 numbers. So once again, we have 5 options, 4 cells. Something is desperately wrong. It's the 3. The 3 has been solved. We need to get rid of that 3. So now let's look at this. 4, 2, 1, 4, 1. 6, 2, 1, 6, 1. That's 4 cells and 4 options. Interesting. Okay. Can we find anything kind of by itself? Oh, do we have 2 of each first? We have at least 2 6s, at least 2 4s, at least 2 2s, and at least 2 1s. So we're good with that. Now, how about sneaky 2 cell 2 options? What about 4 1 4 1? Can we erase that too? Because we just have 4 1 4 1? No, because our 1s are over here too. We got too many 1s to be able to say, hey, 4 1 4 1. That's not true, unfortunately. So this is 4 options, 4 cells. We can't reduce that any more than 4. Good. Okay. So this big row is now done. Let's move on to this one here. Let's just start with the top. So we got 4 cell. Uh-oh. Look at that. 2 cells, 2 numbers, 9 and 7. If this is 9, this is 7. If this is 7, this is 9. 9 and 7 are solved in this row. We just don't know exactly where they go, but they are solved. We can erase 9s and 7s from the others. So let's get rid of these 7s. Right? We spotted 2 cells, 2 options. We get rid of the others, and that leaves 6 5 6 5. Ooh, nice. That's 2 cells, 2 options as well. So we can erase 6 5s from everywhere else in this row. Now, there aren't any 6 5s because everything else is solved except for the 9 7s. So that's cool. But the neat thing is these 2 6 5s are in the same big box. Therefore, we can erase the 6 5s from all of these. 2 cells, 2 options. If this is 6, this is 5. If this is 5, this is 6. That's it. 6 and 5 are solved in this big box. We just don't know exactly where. Actually, we do know exactly where because 5 is solved there, but we're not going to go there. Why did I write that? Dang it. Okay, let me make this a real 5, but we're not going to do that because we're learning about 2 cells, 2 boxes, okay? 2 cells, 2 options. So we can erase 6 5 from everywhere else in here because we know where 6 5 is going to go, basically. So there's no 6 5s there. Here's a 5. That's good. And here's a 5. Nice. So that left 1 by itself. So I'm going to erase that and make it a 1. But I do want to point out, look, 9 2 1 2 1 1. That's 3 cells, 3 boxes. We've got only 1 9. Nope, that doesn't work at all. 9 5. Good, okay. So, but more importantly, that 1 was by itself. So that goes there. We can now erase the 1s from everywhere else in this big box. And also in this row, no more 1s. Also in this column. There's a 1 to get rid of. There's a 1 to get rid of. Now that really messes with this stuff, but we'll get there in a minute, okay? I want to deal with this little guy. This 2 is all by itself. Clearly, it's a 2. So let's make it a 2. And then we can get rid of a bunch of 2's. All the 2's in this big box, there's only one to get rid of. All the 2's in this column, there's a couple to get rid of there. And all the 2's across here. Nothing to get rid of there. Okay, so now we got a 9 by itself. Pretty obviously it's a 9, so I'm going to erase it. I'm going to put the 9 there. Then we'll do some cleanup. Can't be a 9 there. That's the row. How about the big box? Can't be a 9 there. Can't be a 9 there. Good. How about the column? Yeah. Any 9's here? Nope, no 9's. Okay, good. That leaves this 5 by itself. I'm just going to grab it because we're so close to it. So that's a 5. Then we got to do some cleanup. That takes care of the big box. It takes care of the row. It takes care of the column. This is all by itself. It's clearly a 9. Nice. Okay, so clean up this way now. There's a 9. That's got to go. Okay. Can't do anything there. Can't do anything there. We got rid of that one. Okay. So that leaves that by itself. So clearly that's a 7. That lets us get rid of that 7. Any other 7's here to worry about? Yeah, there's a couple 7's here. Here's a 7. There's a 7. Good. That leaves 9 by itself, so I'm going to get rid of that. Good. Any 9's to get rid of here? No. 9's here? No. 9's here? No. Okay. We're back to here. So, real quickly, we've got a 5 here and there's a 5 there, so I'm just going to get rid of that 5. We must have missed it in cleanup somewhere, which is fine. Happens all the time. Don't let that bug you. So, 8, 4, 8, 4 in this row. That's 2 cells, 2 options. If this is 8, this is 4. If this is 4, this is 8. Period. They're solved. We can get rid of all the 8 4's everywhere else along here. There's none. We don't have to worry about it. Same thing is true with the big box, 8 4, 8 4. Get rid of all the other 8 4's. There's none. We don't got to worry about it. There is a 7 by itself. So I'm going to take care of that. All right. So this is a 7. So for this big box, 6 5 6 5 8 4 8 4. We cannot break this down any more than it can be. This big row is done. That's as done as that can get. We need help this way and this way to finish these guys up. Good. Okay. Now, this big row had a lot of changes because we did this one. So I think we should jump back down and clean this up a bit. Number 1, we've got a 4 by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that 4 and make it a 4. And then we can clean up the 4's in here. There's 1. No 4's down there. How about this row? No 4's in the row. How about this column? There's a 4 right there. Good. So solving this helps us with that, which is great. No 4's anywhere else. Okay. Now this 1 is by itself. So let's go ahead and make that a 1. Now let's do some cleanup. We got some 1's in this big box we can get rid of. There's a 1. There's a 1. How about across this way? There's a 1. There's a 1. Good. How about up and down here? There's a 1. We can get rid of that. Good. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I think this thing is busting wide open. So here's an 8 by itself. Let's make this an 8. Do some cleanup. Get rid of that 8. Get rid of that 8. That leaves a 3 by itself. Let's make that a 3. Clean up a little bit. Get rid of that. That leaves 2 by itself. That means this is a 2. A little bit of cleanup. Get rid of that 2. That leaves 1 by itself. Therefore, it is 1. Here's a 6 by itself. I can get rid of that. Make that a 6. Do a little bit of cleanup. That leaves 2 by itself. That's a 2. That whole bottom row is done. Jumping up to here. This 8 is by itself. I'm going to get rid of it. Here's an 8. Clean up a little bit. Get rid of that 8. That 4 is by itself. That's a 4. Now that leaves the 6, 5, 6, 5. We know that going this way, we don't have any help for solving this 6, 5. It has to be solved this way. Now, we happen to have the 5 right there. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up and erase this 5. That leaves 6 by itself, so that's a 6. Then I can clean up, make that 5 by itself, therefore it's a 5. Good. Now we can move on to the top big row. So I think we should just look for stuff by itself, I guess. There's a 4. So we're going to make this a 4. Do a tiny bit of cleanup. That makes that a 1. There's no other 4s anywhere else to get rid of. Look, 8763, 876, 873, 87. 4 options 4. That's really good. Okay, but the 1's by itself, so I'm going to make it a 1. Good. So now let's go across these two and see if we can find any 3 options, 3 cells, or whatever. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, but there's a 1 there. I'm going to go ahead and just erase this real quick so it doesn't mess with us. So we've got 6, 4, 8, 4. So 8, 6, 4, 8, 7, 3. So that's 5 numbers. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3. 8, 7, 6, 8, 7, 6, 3. We do have 5 numbers. We do have 5 cells. So far, this looks like 5 cells, 5 boxes. 5 cells, 5 options. Do we have at least 2 8s? Yes. At least 2 7s? Yes. At least 2 6s? Yes. At least 2 4s? Yes. At least 2 3s? Yes. Okay, nothing's by itself. Do we have any hidden 2 option 2? Here's a 6 4. Is it possible there's another 6 4? Absolutely not. Here's an 8 4. Is it possible there's another 8 4? No. How about 8 7 8 7? Look. 8 7 8 7. Are there any other? So, can we erase the 6 and the 3 from these 2 8 7s? The way you find the answer to that is, are there any other 8 7s elsewhere in the row? The answer is yes. So no, we can't erase anything. We have 8 7s all over the place. Just finding 2 like that means nothing unless they were by themselves. What about 7 6 7 6? Are there any other 7s or 6s? Oh, there's a 6, there's a 7. Yeah, there's no hidden 2 option 2 boxes in there. That's as solved as that's going to get going this way. Let's look at this one. We have 4 cells. 6 4 1 6 1 8 7. That's 5. So already we're messed up. So let's quickly, oh, here's a 7 here. Yeah, let's get rid of that. That leaves 8 by itself, so we'll go ahead and solve that. Okay, now let's look at this. Are there any hidden? Clearly, we can just make that a 4, right? Because we'll erase the 8, and then that'll go away, and we'll have 6 1 6 1. But pretend we didn't see that. Pretend we're looking at this, and we're like, dang, what are we missing? Hey, look, 6 1 6 1. Are there any other 6s or 1s in this row? No, only an 8 and a 4. 6 1 6 1. And no 6 1s anywhere else. These 2 have to be 6 and 1. Since we know that, we can erase this 4. This 4 can go because 6 1 6 1 are all by themselves. They have to be 6 and 1 right here. If this was 4, then this would be 8, and this would be 6 and 1, and we'd have 2 8s. Like, that's a mess. If you see 6 and 1, and it's not anywhere else in that row, you can erase the other stuff that's in there. So I could get rid of that 4. Now, the easier way to get rid of the 4 is to simply clean up. Get rid of this 8. See that 4 is by itself. Make this a 4. And then you can erase the 4. But I want you to notice 2 cells, 2 options. We got to find these because in the future, it's the only way we will solve these puzzles. So 6161, that's cool. That's 2 cells, 2 options. Up here's a 64. So since we know 6 and 1 are already basically solved, we just don't know exactly where they go, we can get rid of the 6 up here within this big box. So the 6 goes, that leaves 4 by itself. So this is a 4. Awesome. We can get rid of this 4. That leaves 8 by itself. So that's an 8. We can now get rid of these 8s. 763, 7673. Is that 3 cells, 3 options? Well, it's 3 numbers, 7, 6, and 3. It's over 3 cells. We've got at least 2 7s, at least 2 6s, at least 2 3s. Yeah, we got 7, 6. Look, 7, 6, 7, 6. Can we erase this 3? No, because we got a 7 over here, right? They're all in the same row. So they're not by themselves. If they were by, they're not the only 2 cells that 7 and 6 appears in. Therefore, we can't get rid of the 3 because there's a 7 over here. Okay, so we can't solve this way, either of these. We have to solve this way. So looking up this way, oh, hey, a 7. We can get rid of that. So 3's by itself, so that's obviously a 3. Then we can get rid of this 3. Uh-oh, 2 cells, 2 boxes. That's great, man. 2 cells, 2 options. 7, 6, 7, 6. We can get rid of all the 7 6s here, all the 7 6s here. We already have. So once again, we're right back to we cannot solve these unless we go up. All right, so we're going to go up here. 6. That leaves 7 by itself, so that's a 7. Clean up. That leaves 6 by itself, so that's a 6. Now we'll go up this way. Here's a 1. That means we can erase that. That leaves 6 by itself, so that's a 6. We'll erase that. That leaves 1 by itself, so that's a 1. Nicely done. All right, I know I spend a lot of time harping on these 2, even though we had easier ways we could have gone, but I really want you to understand the importance of 2 cells, 2 options, 3 cells, 3 options, 4 cells, 4 options, on and on. Without those, we could not solve most of the puzzles in this book. Please buy the book. It's awesome. I didn't write it, by the way. Want to make sure everybody knows that. My name's Jason. I don't know this person. We're not funded in any way. It's just a great book, and it's a great way to really get good at Sudoku. If you can do all the puzzles in here, you are very good at Sudoku. Okay, good. That's it. Let me know if you find any problems with the puzzle. If I started with the wrong numbers, so it turned out all wacky. This is puzzle number 3. Yeah, and have a great day.